SE a favorite among serious observers and newcomers alike? It all starts with our signature orange tube, Schmidt-Cassegrain and Maksutov-Cassegrain optics. Available in 4, 5, 6, and 8-inch apertures. We've added our proprietary Starbright XLT optical coating to enhance light transmission, making your images brighter and more detailed. We know the best telescope is the one you will use most often. That's why NexStar SE breaks down into several lightweight pieces. It's the perfect choice for camping and sets up quickly in your backyard. If you're new to astronomy, you can begin enjoying the night sky right away with NexStar SE. The computerized hand control guides you through our simple sky align procedure, then automatically generates a sky tour of all the best objects to view. Choose from thousands of objects in NexStar SE's database. Then, the computerized fork arm mount accurately points your telescope, centers your object perfectly in the eyepiece, and tracks it as it moves across the sky. You can even get started in astro imaging with your NexStar SE. Just attach any Celestron planetary camera or your DSLR. The 4 and 5-inch models also include a wedge for long exposure photography. Wonders of the night sky with a classic beginner telescope, the Celestron AstroMaster, a great first telescope to enjoy with your family. Every AstroMaster, from the compact 70mm refractor to the 130mm reflector, reveals dazzling views of craters on the Moon, the rings of Saturn, the moons of Jupiter, the Orion Nebula, and many more of the most popular celestial objects. Choose the larger Newtonian reflectors for brighter, more detailed images. Even if you've never used a telescope before, you'll be navigating the sky in minutes with your AstroMaster. The equatorial mount is a favorite of amateur astronomers because it makes it easy to track objects as they appear to move across the sky. Your AstroMaster includes everything you need for a great night of stargazing. 2 eyepieces, a permanently mounted red dot finder scope, and a sturdy, full-size steel tripod with accessory tray. When you're out under the stars, use Celestron's free Sky Portal mobile app for iOS and Android to locate objects in the night sky. As you observe, listen to Sky Portal's audio descriptions for the most popular objects. Happy stargazing!
Binoculars, and this is a video on some tips and techniques to get up and running and how to use the Space Probe 130 ST telescope. So I'm going to assume you've read the manual and you've familiarized yourself with the parts, and you've got it to pretty much this level of assembly already. So there's 2 things you need to do before you go outside and start viewing the night sky. The first is balancing the telescope, and then the second is aligning the finder scope. Let's start with balancing. The 2 lock knobs, loosen them, and you can move it east to west along the right ascension axis here, and then north and south along the declination axis here. To make sure it's balanced, just tip the telescope off to the side, don't let go, and basically remove your hands for a second and see which direction the telescope is going to be falling. See, so right now I'm pretty close, but obviously it's falling in this axis right here, right ascension. And what that means is my counterweight is not heavy enough to balance it. So I'm going to loosen it here and slide it back down the shaft, right there, and I'll try again. There we go. It's not moving in that one direction. Now it is slowly moving up in declination, which means that the back of the telescope is a little too heavy. So I'll loosen the 2 screws on the rings, and I can shift the telescope down in the rings. Well, actually I want to shift it up in the rings a little bit. So loosen it, shift it up a little bit to about right there, lock it back down, and then try again. Now, I went a little too far. Now it's a little scope heavy. So just go back and forth until you find the right balance point. Make sure you put your finder scope and your eyepiece on there, because that weight's going to be on there when you're using the telescope. So I'm probably pretty close right there. There we go. So next is the finder scope. If the finder scope is not aligned, you will never find anything in the night sky. It's impossible. Even with a low power eyepiece, the field of view is pretty narrow compared to naked eye. So it's difficult. It's like looking through a straw to find some object in the sky. I like to do it during the day. The first time it's going to be the hardest because you can't use the finder to aim it. So look off in the distance, find a tree or a power pole, something about a 1/4 mile or more away, and point the main telescope at it. Aim it out there just to pretend here. Use the slow motion knobs, east and west, north and south here, to get the corner of the building or whatever target you're using in the very center of your eyepiece. Once that's done, look through your finder scope, and you'll notice it's probably in there, but it's not on the crosshair. When you just slide the finder scope on, it will not be aligned. It'll be a little bit off from the direction that the main scope is pointing. So just use the 2 screws on the side of the finder to adjust it to get the crosshair right on the same thing you're looking at in there. You might want to go back and forth a couple times just to make sure you didn't bump the telescope and you're not, again, looking at the corner of the building. Once that's calibrated, then you're good. Then you can use the finder scope to find something in the night sky, and you can be assured that it will be in the center of the eyepiece.
My name is Jeremy with Orion Telescopes and Binoculars, and this is the Star Blast 6 Reflector Telescope. It has a 6-inch aperture and features a focal length of 750 millimeters, which will give great views of the planets, the moon, and brighter deep space objects. It sits on a sturdy, pre-assembled, easy-to-use Dobsonian base, and it all weighs only 23.5 pounds, making it a great grab-and-go telescope. It comes with a 25mm and a 10mm eyepiece, an eyepiece rack, the Easy Finder 2 finder scope, and you can also purchase an Intelescope upgrade kit later on to give it Intelescope functionality. For Orion Telescopes and Binoculars, I'm Jeremy. Thank you for watching, and clear skies.